Morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday, Juneteenth. Today is Friday morning podcast, everyone. So this podcast is the podcast that we did about 2 weeks ago. So we're gonna jump right into it, everybody. Everybody who's looking for Layers of Pain podcast will be on later on this afternoon, everyone. But this is the one I needed to get done that I talked about and posted about a few weeks ago. So the topics that are spoken about here today's podcast is Juneteenth event, Black Music Month, Summer Slide, and kids, and what is your summer plan? So we're just gonna jump right into it for the sake of time, everybody, give everybody an opportunity to tune in. So with the summer sliding and kids, give me a second, everybody. All right. So for summer sliding kids, skids have been out for about a few weeks now. And the kids are settling into their routine. But if we aren't careful, the summer slide is going to creep up on us. And this particular part of today's podcast, we're going to talk about how to keep our kids' brain active and sharpened over the next few months without stripping away their summer fun. Let's talk about the realistic, the structural ways to beat the learning loss together. So pretty much what the summer slide is continue to have our children read their books every day, daily, continue to feed their minds with the things that they need so when they go back to school in August or September, they'll be able to continue the path that they were on in May all the way to the beginning of January. So that way their mind is still exploring, working on puzzle games, looking at novel stories, short stories, spend time at the library, doing things to continue to keep their mind going and active, and doing little arts and craft activity, and not even at that, taking them to like the zoo, museum, things of that sort to kind of keep their mind active during the few months that they're out of school. Okay, now why is that important? Because when a child is out of school for 2 months, they're tending to have the same customs of watching TV, being on social media, playing video games, and not really focusing on reading their books. And this is why it's so important in the summertime to really continue to be consistent with that, even when they're on their summer break, because not only will that enhance their vocabulary, but they'll continue to keep their mind active and moving during the summertime. And even when they're on vacation, they can read a page a day or even a book a day. Depends on how big the book is. I know for my children, when they were younger, I put them into the summer sliding program for Bridges Everywhere Beach, and they did that for a few years until they aged out. And they participated in a lot of things at Bridges when they were younger, and that kept their mind moving and going. Even to this day, they're very good readers, and that's my part as a mom that I took the initiative to continue to do that, and I learned so much about the summer slide because my children went to Washington Elementary, and they had camps and things that they needed, they had for the children to, participate in. And it really helped them to really influence their vocabulary. All right. So let's move on to the next topic. What does a father figure mean to you? So this is where we're streaming to Father's Day weekend, which is this Sunday, June 21st. So this concept is basically explaining like family isn't just about biology, it's about who shows up. Today we're going to dive into a heart to heart about what it truly means to be a father figure. What's a dad, a grandfather, uncle, or a mentor who steps into the gap? We are honoring the men who shape our lives, build our confidence, redefine what guidance looks like in our community. So we're going to start with dads. You may have your real dad, and you may have your stepdad, whatever role they may play in your life. What are some of the key points in your life that really impact you by how they carry themselves, how they lead, how they teach you, how they give you wisdom and knowledge? And for those who have grandfathers or great grandfathers, what are some of the things they have instilled to you or share with you with wisdom and knowledge about being a young man or a young lady? An uncle, you may have a close uncle that you're close to. What is it? What does that relationship look like in terms of spending time with your uncle, learning about some of the things that he's doing, centering some of the things that he has learned in his life to share with you. Okay. Or you may have a mentor, somebody that's not even inside of your home, but somebody who's in the community who has stepped in and really showed up and for you. It may have been a sporting event you attended, or an award ceremony, or came in to talk to the teachers, or stepped in when you were having trouble with your schoolwork or problems at home, Whatever it is that that mentor did for you, they step in and fill the gaps that a father, grandfather, uncle didn't, because you may not have that available to you because everybody's living situation is completely different. So you never know what somebody may be going through or facing. So by you having a mentor stepping in, they're playing that male role to really enhance you, to really show you that they believe in you and show that you can be whatever you set your mind to be. And that helps you in the long run because it builds a community of people that shares the same like-minded idea. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you grow. They want to see you develop. They want to see you exceed in life. They want to see things that they didn't. They want you to do better than they do. So what they experience in their own life, everyone, they want you to do that. This is why Father's Day is so important, just like Mother's Day, because fathers play an important role in children's and young people's lives. We don't hear a lot about the story because the spotlight is not brightened like it is like Mother's Day and other holidays. But fathers should get their flowers just like mothers deserve their flowers because, again, fathers have their role in the home or outside the home or wherever it is that they're doing that is helping kids get to a place. And so many young people don't have that type of structure in their life because a lot of them never experienced that type of structure in their life. So they wouldn't know how that father figure aspect would look like. Some may not have that grandfather, uncles, or someone to step in, so they had to learn along the way. But if you are fortunate and blessed to have that opportunity for somebody to step in and show you the right direction and show you the right way and help you build your confidence and redefine guidance in your life and build that community, it shows that, hey, this is what I need. This is what I need to be successful. This is what I need to grow, and this is what I need to prosper. All right. Let's look at the next one. So today is Juneteenth, and as well as Black Music Month. So we just wrapping up some beautiful celebrations. A lot of celebrations are taking place today, across the world, everyone, or even today, even this weekend. So wherever you are going to celebrate Juneteenth, enjoy yourself, learn about the history of it, learn the importance of about it. And I'm going to give you a background history of Black Music Month and Juneteenth in the process of this podcast, everybody. So today, we're bringing these two worlds together. We're reflecting on the energy of our local community events and diving into the soundtrack of our culture. For the root jazz gospel to the smooth rhythm of neo soul, music is history, and we're playing a tribute today. So many are like, how Juneteenth and Black Music Month intertwine? We're going to get into that in the next part of this segment, everyone. So, what is your summer plans? Okay. So, as you are entering the summer ends, you are sharing what you're doing during the summer plans. You may be going on trips. You may be going on a cruise. You may be just chilling at the house. You may be doing some summer cleaning. You may be reconstructing some things in life and sorting things out in your life that can help you become different. Learning how to practice self-care, learning how to enjoy the sun, learning how to spend time being one with yourself, and learning that much needed rest is needed. Going out to the local festivals that they have, the craft projects you can do, they have like the activities at the library, or things you can do at the beach, or things you can even do around the community, the different festivals that they have, or outings that you may want to be a part of. Going out and meeting new people and strategizing, not being on a continued rush because, again, school is over with now. Camps are in session, summer reading programs are happening. But if you're not doing any of that, what are you doing during this time that you are off during this summertime? Are you sleeping in? Are you spending more time reflecting on the things? Are you spending more time loving yourself? Are you doing more to really benefit yourself in the long run? So now we're going to touch bases and get a little bit more in depth with this conversation and get a little bit more in depth about Juneteenth and Black music on everyone. And really just dive into this podcast because the things that I'm sharing with you all today is going to help a lot of people that's tuning in, everyone. So as we just went over the 4 topics today, we're going to jump back into the summer sliding in kids. This topic of summer sliding, it is phenomenal where students lose up to 2 or 3 months of math and reading skills over the summer break instead of advocating for a rigid summer school tactic. This often talk about practicality, parents being more proactive, stress-free, creating ways to waver learning into everyday day summer activities like library challenges, cooking, and educational games. Why is this important? It tackles a major source of parent anxiety. Parents want their children to succeed academically, but also want them to enjoy their childhood and rest. By reframing learning as something that can be fun and stimulus, you will relieve parenting guilt and prevent kids from starting the school year as a disadvantage. It provides a community-driven, actionable survival guide for summer. So math, reading, writing, whatever it is that you want to do, continue to do that. Monday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday is off. Whatever your schedule may look like, help them to stay on course. So the father figure aspect of it, and we're still going to get more in depth with that. A deep reflection, again, talk about how grandfathers, uncles, stepfathers, coaches, and community mentors step in into a foundation role to guide and protect and inspire. This part of this portion is focusing on the personal storytelling and celebrating the diverse way men God has showed up in their lives. The importance of this topic is critical because it validates a non-traditional family dynamic and the honor unsung hero in a community. Resources continue showing that a strong supportive father figure boosts a child's emotional intelligence, confidence, and self-esteem by opening up this conversation. It creates a space of healing, gratitude, and deeper appreciation for the village. It takes a real confidence and resilient individual. It takes real confident and resilient individuals to handle it. Now we're going back to the Black music and Juneteenth recap, and then we're going to go dive in to give you more insight about it. So, the whole concept of this is Juneteenth celebrates and honor legacy of Black music. It dives into how music, a stretch from gospel to jazz to neo-soul modern rhythm, has served as the ultimate soundtrack for freedom, resilience, storytelling, and community healing. The importance is base. It goes beyond basic entertainment to highlight culture preservance. Music and community gather has a historical been vital tool for survival, joy, and expression. Discussing these topics preserves culture, history, connects generation, and reminds listeners and the profound impact Black art and community resilience having on the global landscape. Now, let's get into the summer plans. The high energy interacts lifestyle talks about where you share your own summer calendar. Local festivals create design project travel while inviting listeners to share theirs. The core message centers on the art of slow summer living and intentional downtime. Why is this important? It's a culture obsession with consistent production, prioritizing joy, hobby, and rest in the act of wellness. This episode served as a gentle promotional slip for the audience to slow down, invest in self-care, enjoy life before the hectic pace of fall season return. It builds a strong and personal connection between you and the people around you, and making your community feel a little bit more tighter and tight-knit group of friends sharing updates about, okay, what are you doing this summer? How are you doing this? You're traveling. What are you doing? Let's take pictures. Let's do videos. Let's do. And the thing about it is, all these things that I'm sharing with you is so important, everyone. All right, so let me give you some back history about the summer reading slide. So pay attention, everybody. In the 19th century roots, all right, when former U.S. school calendar began shifting away from the air clean need, where kids went to school in winter and summer, but helped farm in spring and fall towards a standard urban calendar with a long summer break. Teachers rushed immediately noticed that when children returned in September, their skills had severe rush. So this landmark happened in 1996. The phenomenal move for teachers complained the rugged scientific fact in 1996 when a landmark compared meta-analysis was published. The study analyzed decades of test scores and provided defined that kids lose significant grounds in reading and math over the summer break. On the average, modern data shows that students lose 20% of their school year gains in reading and 27% of their school year gains in math over the summer. So the discovery of the book design as a psychological and educative resource expanded in 2000. Scientists discovered a devastating truth that summer slide is a major drive of achievement gap. While middle and upper income children often maintain, even improve their reading levels over the summer due to camp, travel, and home library, children in low income neighborhood experience severe circular loss. Resources Corner term book deserts to describe a neighborhood where access to print material is particularly non-existent. In some high-profit areas, studies in Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. basically found that there were only one age-appropriate books available for every 300 to 800 children. So the latest breakthrough of this in 2016 and 2026, resources studies published a recent as spring 26, such as research from Mary Lou Fulton Teacher College, has shifted the focus from panicking to practical solutions. The newest data show that you don't need an intensive summer school to fix the slide. Simply provide a child with 8 to 10 books that match their specific reading level and personal interests over the summer can result in a literacy gain equally 2/3 of the school year. Okay? Now, as we got an insight about the summer reading program or summer slide, let's look at Father's Day and the importance of that. The first spark of the Magallanes mining disaster, 1908. The first recorded celebration of fathers in the U.S. occurred in July 5th, 1908, in a church in Fellman, West Virginia. A woman named Grace Golden Clay was mourning the loss of her own father, who had died a few months prior. Her grief was multiplied with the mining disaster killed 361 men, 250 of whom were fathers, leaving over 1,000 children orphans. Clayton asked her pastor to hold a special service to honor all the fathers lost in tragedy. However, it was a one-time memorial and did not immediately become an annual tradition. The true foundation of Sonora Smart Doll in 1910. The driving force behind the modern holiday was the Sonora Smart Doll of Spokane, Washington. While listening to a Mother's Day sermon in 1908, Dolt felt strongly that fathers deserve equal recognition. Her motivation was deeply personal. Her mother had died of childbirth, and her father, William, a Civil War vet, raised Sonora and their 5 siblings alone on a rural farm. Dolt wanted to honor her father in mission, sacrifice, selflessness, and love because her father was born in June. She rallied local churches, the YMC, the government officials to celebrate the national first statewide Father's Day in Washington on June 19, 1910. The decade of restriction. It took 62 years from the first celebration for Father's Day to become a federal holiday. Why? The manless herd in 1910 and 20s, many men actively resist the holiday. They mocked it, feeling that a day associated with flowers, sentimental cards, and gift giving was attempted to denature a feminist commercial side. Congress repeatedly fought against the holiday, fearing it would commercial glimpse invested by ties, tobacco pipes, and greeting cards manufacturers just make a buck. The political fight. President Woodrow Wilson, 1916, Calvin Coolidge, 1920, both supported the idea, but Congress refused to pass it until 1966 that President Lyndon P. Johnson issued the first presidential proclamation establishing the third Sunday in June as Father's Day. In 1972, President Ronald Reagan signed into permanent law during the middle of a presidential re-election campaign. So that's how Father's Day took place, everybody. All right. So now we're getting into the portion of today, which is Juneteenth and, of course, Black Music Month, which has been ran from June 1st all the way to June 30th. All right. So let's get into it. Music was the first vehicle for freedom. Long before Juneteenth became a federal holiday, music was how enslaved Black Americans communicated and survived and expressed their humanity. Spiritual and coding songs like Go Down Moses or Wade in the Water, weren't just beautiful melodies, they were map survival guides and expressions of a deep longing for liberty. The connection. You can't separate the journey to June 19, 1865 from the music that sustained the people who fought to see that day. Black Music Month honors the exact sound that made survival and liberty possible. The sound of celebration and joy. Juneteenth marks the day that the news of the proclamation finally reached Galveston, Texas, 2.5 years after proclamation, when the news landed, there was collective relief, prayer, and celebration. How do we celebrate? Through music, through celebrating, through the foods, through the culture, through the atmosphere. From the very first Jubilee days to the modern days, backyard barbecues and citywide festivals, music is the heartbeat of Juneteenth. We use the rhythm of jazz, the soul of gospel, the blues, and modern R&B to express a joy that words alone can't capture. Music is literally a soundtrack of our freedom, the preserved history of the ordinary tradition, because teaching enslaved people to read and write was illegal. Black history was kept alive through oral tradition, specifically through songs. Black music must celebrate genres like blues and jazz, which are entirely built on the storytelling. Just as Juneteenth is a day to look back, remember our history, and honor our ancestors, Black Music Month is a 30-day advocate of exactly the same history told through melodies, bass line, and lyrics. When you think about Juneteenth is the historical milestone, but Black Music Month is an emotional heartbeat that carries. They both celebrate the exact same thing, the undeniable resilient joy and triumph of the culture. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I summarize everything that was talked about here in today's podcast, everyone, that gives everybody an opportunity to really think about what all these topics really mean. So we can express these things in a way that could go in different directions, but each thing that I talked about, each subject matter that is talked about, is going to really help you think about it outside the box. So, with that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Friday Morning Podcast. I'll be back on next month for our segment right around the 19th of July. So that'll be our go-to. It probably won't be on a Friday. It'll probably be a different day. But it gives you an opportunity. So I have a listing of what we're going to be talking about in the month of July. So make sure you all tune in later today for the podcast of Layers of Play, the flyer I've been sharing. Everybody's been so excited to look at. Layers of Pain is the book that I'm releasing later on in the month of July. And this is giving you a little bit of a getting your feet wet to really hear about why this book is so important to me and how it can transfer so many women's lives and even males of all walks of life. So make sure you tune in later on today as I go into this podcast. And Layers of Pain podcast is a weekly podcast on Friday. So every Friday you will see me in the afternoon time. I will not give you a specific time because my schedule fluctuates. But just know I will be on Fridays to really share with you about this amazing book that's going to change so many people's lives. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all later. Be blessed. And if I don't, have a happy Juneteenth and a happy Father's Day and a happy everything. All right, I'll see y'all later. Be blessed.